I started to meditate about 15 years ago, and I was led to meditation, I guess, during a stage of my life, experienced what can be called a midlife crisis. And it was at that point that I began to search really for the spiritual dimension that would give meaning and color to my life. So that was how I came to meditation, because I felt that the practice of meditation would be one way for me to come to spiritual depth.
Laurence Freeman is a Benedictine priest and a monk, and the spiritual leader of the World Community for Christian Meditation, where he carries on the work of his own teacher, John Main.
I was first interested in meditation, I think, somewhat to my surprise when John Main introduced me to it. I had read quite a lot in Eastern religions and somewhat in my own Christian spiritual tradition, but I wasn't that familiar really with the Christian mystical tradition at that time. But when I was introduced to meditation, I realized, or began to realize, that the way to that truth was a way of experience, and that experience would be a way of simplicity, a way of silence, a way of stillness, of mind as well as body, leaving thoughts and words and images and all the thinking behind, and moving into the experience of meditation itself.
John Main was Irish, born in England in 1926. As a young layman, he was inspired by an Indian form of meditation. Later, as a priest, Main once again encountered a rich meditative tradition in Christianity, in the writings of the Desert Fathers. Main felt such joy at this discovery that he devoted the rest of his life to teaching meditation, founding a Benedictine community in Montreal, and establishing the World Community for Christian Meditation.
Patricia and I are very delighted to
Peter
see
Ng
all of
and his
you
wife
again.
Patricia are members of the WCCM in Singapore.
Say this prayer word.
Would anyone like to use the cushion or the press because I'll sit in the chair?
We encountered Fr Laurence, first of all, through his book. He wrote this wonderful book, The Light Within, the inner path of Christian meditation. I felt that it was exactly what we needed. We didn't know him except through the book. But as time went on, we felt that here was a teacher that we could learn from. Here was a teacher who inspires us. And now, 15 years later, he has become a friend, a very close friend. We feel that this friendship with Fr Laurence is one of the greatest gifts that we have received in our life.
John Main said that meditation creates community, or reveals community. And yet, meditation itself is a very solitary practice. I can't meditate for you, and you can't meditate for me. And yet, we can meditate together. And that's a very mysterious and significant truth, that we can do this very solitary thing together. In the Christian tradition, meditation is also called the prayer of the heart, or contemplative prayer. And essentially, there are three basic elements in meditation. silence, stillness, and simplicity. When you meditate, your posture is very important, your physical posture, how you sit. You can, for example, sit on a chair, as long as you have a straight back chair, that will help you to sit with your back straight, because sitting with your back straight, that's the basic rule of posture for meditation. Now we begin our meditation. Relax the muscles of your face, and then silently, interiorly, begin to say your word. And the word again is the word Maranatha. As you say the word, say it clearly, articulate it clearly, and listen to the word as you say it. Ma-ra-na-tha. Maranatha. Choosing the mantra is very important because you want to stay with the same word all the way through the meditation, and in fact from day to day. And the reason for that is that you are allowing the word or mantra to sink from the mind into the heart. The word actually I recommend is the word Maranatha. Maranatha is an Aramaic word, that's the language that Jesus spoke, and it means come Lord, or Lord comes. So it's a very sacred word in the Christian tradition. Yes, I think meditation does awaken a real sense of social responsibility. We live in a society in which the more affluent we become, the more we realize our material ambitions economically and socially, we seem to participate less in the political and social life of the community or of society.
I wake up in the morning,
If we develop our societies only on the basis of our individuality, our individual rights, our individual ambitions, then we are really undermining the very life of a healthy political and social society. Meditation, which restores us to a sense of our place in the community, to a real sense of personhood, will therefore contribute to a much healthier society.
I've seen some Chinese and Malay people there. It's good for the Chinese and Malay. It's good for other people go to other races to learn about other races.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
yeah.
The practice of meditation, the discipline of meditation is quite demanding, and I'm just very grateful that by the grace of God I've been able to persevere, and I've now reached a point where meditation is the spiritual anchor of my life. It is the stabilizing factor, and meditation is now as natural to me, it's as natural to my spiritual life as breakfast, lunch and dinner is to my bodily life. Father, open our hearts to the silent presence of the Spirit of your Son.
When we do have the same program in the morning and we get up at the same time and we begin our morning meditation together, well, we just sit down and say a little prayer to begin, and then we close our eyes, still our minds, and then we are quiet together for 25 minutes.
Christians have a very strong and great tradition of service, of good works. And they feel that the whole of the Christian life should be devoted to the, the relief of suffering and to the well-being of others, to doing good works. Well, this is the old question of balance. In practical terms, if you devote yourself only to external action, you will burn out, or you will forget why you're doing it.
This is the spiritual family that has grown over the last 20 years, and it unites meditators like ourselves with meditators around the world. When we sit down to meditate, we give all our attention to the sounding of this prayer word within us. We give all our attention to this work of sounding the prayer word. And whatever thoughts come into our mind, usually these are thoughts of the past or the future, we let them go. We give all our attention to the sounding of the prayer word. And it is in that way that we are fully inserted into the present moment. I remembered when I first began to meditate, when I first learned to meditate from Fr Laurence Freeman. He asked me whether I could start a meditation group. And that was quite a challenge, because I had only just begun to meditate, and how could I possibly go and share this teaching with others when I had not been practicing it for long enough. But what really motivated me was the feeling that this was how I and my wife Patricia could make a contribution to the betterment of the world.